Imagine this. A successful CEO decides to step out of his high-rise office and go undercover at one of his own restaurants. He wants to see what it's like to be just another customer in line. Dressed casually, blending in with the crowd, he steps up to the counter, places his order and waits. But as he stands there, something unexpected catches his attention. A conversation between two young boys right behind him. Their words stop him cold. For a moment, he forgets who he is, why he's there, and just listens. What they're saying isn't just casual chatter. It's something deeper, something that strikes a chord in a way he never anticipated. Little does he know, this encounter will change the way he sees his business, his customers, and even himself. What did those boys say? Stick around to find out. It's a story you won't want to miss. Your introduction paints an intriguing picture. Here's a polished version with slight adjustments to enhance the natural flow and emotional connection. It was a busy afternoon at a high-end clothing store, the kind of place where appearances seem to speak louder than words. A sharp-dressed black man strolled in, casually browsing through racks of designer suits and luxury accessories. But as he moved through the store, something shifted. Whispers floated among the staff, exchanged with uneasy glances. The tension was palpable. Finally, one employee, unable to hold back their suspicion, stepped forward with a pointed question about his intentions. Their tone made it clear this wasn't a friendly inquiry. What none of them realized, though, was that this man wasn't just another shopper. He held a title that could turn their assumptions completely upside down. What followed wasn't just surprising. It was a lesson in perception, humility, and the power of a single moment to change everything. You won't believe how this story unfolds. The employee's voice cut through the hum of the store, drawing the attention of nearby shoppers. "Can I help you find something?" they asked, their tone more accusatory than welcoming. The man paused, meeting their gaze calmly. He smiled politely and replied, "Just looking, thanks." But the employee didn't back off. Instead, they hovered, watching his every move, as if waiting for something to go wrong. From behind the counter, other staff whispered, stealing glances at him. Their murmurs weren't subtle, and neither were their looks. The man continued to browse, his demeanor calm, but his mind racing. He had seen this kind of behavior before. The quiet judgment, the way assumptions formed based on nothing more than his appearance. Meanwhile, a younger employee at the back of the store hesitated. They could see what was happening, but didn't know how to intervene. Should they speak up? Was it even their place? The tension grew thicker with every passing second. Then the man walked toward the register, carrying an expensive suit. As he placed it on the counter, the employee behind the till hesitated, their face a mix of surprise and uncertainty. "Are you sure you want this one?" they asked, glancing at the price tag. The man didn't react right away. He studied their expression, the slight unease in their voice. "Yes," he said, his tone steady. "Is there a problem with that?" For a moment, no one said anything. The air in the store felt heavy, as if everyone was waiting for something to happen. The man's calm demeanor only seemed to deepen the staff's confusion. Who was he, and why did he seem so unfazed? Little did they know, the truth about who he was, and why he was really there, would soon come to light, shaking the store and everyone in it. But for now, the questions lingered, and the weight of unspoken assumptions filled the room. The real lesson was just beginning. The man's hand emerged from his pocket, holding a sleek black card with a striking logo embossed in gold. It wasn't a credit card, it was a badge. A badge that carried weight far beyond its simple design. The younger employee's whisper turned into a stunned, "He's the owner." Gasps rippled through the store. The employees who had been so quick to judge now stood frozen, their faces pale as realization set in. The man's calm demeanor took on a new intensity, his presence commanding the room in a way they couldn't ignore. He placed the badge on the counter, letting it sit there like an unspoken challenge. "Let me introduce myself," he began, his voice steady, deliberate. "I'm the CEO of this company. I started this brand from scratch, and I built it to serve everyone, not just those you think belong." His words hit like a wave, breaking down every assumption the staff had made. The employee behind the counter stammered, their earlier arrogance replaced by nervous apologies. I didn't realize," they managed to say, their hands trembling as they handed over the receipt. The others stood in stunned silence, their earlier whispers now replaced by regret. But the man wasn't done. He turned his attention to the room, his eyes locking on each person. "What bothers me most," he said, his voice filled with quiet disappointment, "isn't just how you treated me. It's what it says about how you treat others. People who don't have the power to challenge you. How many good customers have walked out of this store because of your assumptions?" The younger employee, who had been watching silently, finally spoke up. "I should have said something," they admitted, their voice heavy with guilt. "I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't want to cause trouble." The man looked at them, his expression softening slightly. "It's never easy to do what's right," he said, "but it's always worth it." The tension in the room was almost unbearable now, every person hanging on his words, waiting to see what would come next. Would he fire them on the spot? Shut down the store? No one dared to move, their fates seemingly in his hands. The man held up a sleek, polished business card, its embossed letters gleaming under the store lights. In bold, unmistakable print, it read, **CEO and founder ** below that, the name of the brand they all worked for. The room went still, as if time itself had paused. The man held up a sleek, polished business card, its embossed letters gleaming under the store lights. In bold, unmistakable print, it read, **CEO and founder ** below that, the name of the brand they all worked for. The room went still, as if time itself had paused. He placed the card on the counter deliberately, letting it sit there like a mirror reflecting their behavior back at them. "For those of you wondering," he began, his voice calm yet filled with authority, "yes, I can afford the suit. But what concerns me more is whether this store can afford the attitude I've seen here today." A ripple of shock spread through the employees. Their eyes darted to each other, searching for some kind of escape from the weight of his words. The employee who had made the cutting comment about affordability looked pale, their earlier arrogance replaced with visible regret. "I built this company on values of inclusion, respect, and service," he continued, his gaze sweeping the room. "Yet here I am, being judged by the very people who are supposed to represent those values." His voice remained steady, but there was no mistaking the disappointment that laced every word. The younger employee, standing in the back, finally found their voice. I should have stepped in," they stammered. "I knew what was happening wasn't right, but I didn't know how to stop it." Their honesty cut through the tension, and for the first time, the man's expression softened slightly. "It's not easy to do what's right," he said, meeting their eyes. "But it's necessary. Because how we treat people, especially when we think no one's watching, defines who we are." The air in the room grew heavier, every employee now grappling with the weight of their actions. Customers nearby whispered among themselves, some looking embarrassed for the staff, others nodding in silent approval of the man's words. Still, the question loomed, what would happen next? Would there be consequences? Would anyone be held accountable? The tension in the room was palpable. Every person bracing for the moment, the man revealed what he planned to do. The man took a deep breath, his gaze steady. "Here's what's going to happen," he said, his voice firm yet measured. "This isn't about firing anyone. It's about learning. Each of you has a responsibility, not just to this company, but to yourselves, to treat everyone with dignity, regardless of how they look or what you assume about them." The employees nodded, some shamefaced, others clearly reflecting on his words. He turned to the younger employee. "You had the courage to admit your hesitation. Next time, act on it. Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it matters." With that, he handed the suit back. "Keep this here as a reminder," he said. "The real value of this company isn't in the price tags. It's in how we treat people." As he walked out, the staff stood in silence, left with a powerful lesson they wouldn't soon forget.